Good evening. This meeting held at the Roselle Park High School Gymnasium, nope, it's actually the auditorium, is an open session of the Roselle Park Board of Education held under the Open Public Meetings Act of the State of New Jersey. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, local source, the Home News Tribune, the Borough Clerk, school offices, and the district website. Roll call, please.
President Carlstrom,
Here.
Vice President Falcon, absent. Mr. Fernandez,
Here.
Mr. Harms,
Here.
Mr. Hemingway, absent. Mixon Fonte,
Here.
Ms. Kirkland, here. Ms. McLeod Cato, here, and Ms. Quintella. We have quorum.
Thank you. Flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Resolved that the Roselle Park Board of Education meeting hereby convenes to executive session for discussion of the following subjects: personnel matters and attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated that the executive session will take approximately 60 minutes. The board may take action during public session. The board shall return to public session following executive session at approximately 7 p.m. The minutes of the executive session shall be released to the public when the reason for the executive session no longer exists. May I have a motion to go into an executive session?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Welcome to the high school auditorium. May I have a motion to return to the public session?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? At this time, it's time for public participation, agenda items only. Mrs. Callis, did we have any write-ins?
No, we do not for agenda items.
Thank you. And at this time, I look to my fellow board members to see if we have any committee reports.
Yes, I have two, President Carlstrom. Thank you and good evening. I have two committee reports, the first being from our latest technology committee meeting. There we discussed the many lessons learned and successes accomplished by the district over the past and current school year. Thanks to the leadership in our technology department helmed by Chris Hyde, all students who requested a device have won, totaling over 1,000 devices distributed to students and families. Currently, there is no family in need of a device. We also have a new website at rpsd.org, which I highly recommend you check out. It's more user-friendly, both on desktop and cellularly. The district will also be coordinating a return of devices before the end of the school year. Upcoming projects include an expansion of the keyless entry project, a firewall upgrade, security cameras outside the elementary schools, and web-based training for staff and parents. Again, a huge thank you to Chris Hyde and his team of experts. Your resilience and fast action helped us make this challenging year a lot easier for our students and families. As for the Equity Committee, there was a large discussion around Juneteenth. Juneteenth is a 155-year-old holiday celebrating the emancipation of African Americans from slavery in the U.S. It is celebrated on June 19th. The name is a combination of the words June and 19th, because on that date in 1865, Major General Gordon Granger of the Union Army landed in Galveston, Texas, and informed slaves that the Civil War had ended and slavery had been abolished. Information provided by CNBC. The committee and administrators are planning to commemorate the event through numerous resources for their respective schools. On June 18th, students will be encouraged to wear red and will have access to learning resources that will include reading material and a short video shown in morning programming. We invite the entire community to participate and hope this day can be a celebration for us all. Thank you, Madam President. Those are my reports.
Thank you. Do we have any other committee reports? Seeing none, I'd like to turn the microphone over to our superintendent, Mr. Garrido.
Thank you, Mrs. Colstrom. Good evening, board members. Good evening, audience. Tonight, we actually have a very special presentation that I will be introducing in a couple of minutes. But before I do that, I just want to give an update on our reopening efforts and our reopening plans. As everyone knows, at this time, our students are attending school 5 days a week, single session, with afternoons remote. We will continue with that schedule to the end of this school year. However, I don't know if anybody has heard the governor speak the last couple of weeks. He has made several comments that students will have, or parents will have, no remote option come September. So the district will be planning full days with all students in person in September. As of now, that's the way it's going. Obviously, we have learned over the past 14 months that things can change, and there could be another change before August. But right now, the district will be planning full days of school with all students attending in person. Also, I wanted to make sure that everyone is aware, although there has been comments also by the governor regarding the mask policy. Schools continue, and he made it very clear today that schools is one of the organization that masks must still be worn. So we will continue. We have not received any guidance from DOE regarding any of these orders or reduction of orders that the governor has been making comments on over the past couple of weeks. As soon as we receive it, I will send information to the staff as well as to the parents. But right now, schools are still under the order that masks must be worn. And as I said to you at this time, it is really my privilege to present to you three people are here in the audience. And I know Mr. Salvo is going to present the coaches, but Mr. Salvo, our Director of Curriculum, who is going to give an introduction in terms of our ELA, math, and science curriculum and the great things that are going on in the district. And I could not be happier. And Mr. Salvo can attest to this. 8 years ago, when I came into this district, we started talking about instructional coaches and the benefit and the importance of having instructional coaches work with teachers, work in the classroom, work with our curriculum, and model different type of instructional methods and what benefit this will be for our schools and most importantly for our students. And we finally have them. And I can tell you that we have found the right people for these positions. And again, I don't want to take the thunder away from Mr. Salvo because he is going to present, but I am very, very happy. I'm proud that we are doing with the work that is being done from the curriculum office and from instructional coaches. So Mr. Salvo, I'm going to give you the opportunity to introduce these great young ladies that are seated here in front of us. And I know Ms. Hickman wasn't able to be here, but she's also going to present as well. So Mr. Salvo, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think that would probably be wise. We would like to see the presentation, not me talking about it. All right, good evening, everyone. This is on. Good evening, everyone. Is this working? Okay, great. as Mr. Garrido said, this is certainly an exciting night to be able to present not only an update from the curriculum office, but also to for that update to really include coaches, which, as Mr. Garrido said, we've been talking about and preparing for the introduction to the roles to the district for quite some time. There's always a lot to update from the curriculum office. There's always a lot of projects ongoing, but I will tell you that tonight, what we're doing is the speed and the accuracy and the execution of a lot of things that we've done over the past few months with the introduction of a language arts coach, a math coach, and a number of other teacher leader positions who are not here tonight, but I don't want to diminish their work as well. The amount of people that are invested in pushing the district further is just incredible, and really a lot of kudos goes to those teachers that stepped out into coaching roles or took on other roles outside of their normal duties. It's a lot is on the shoulders of the teachers who are doing the work. One of the things that struck a chord right from our interviewing for the coaching is something that you'll see the picture of all the facades of each of the schools. This was something that our math coach, Mrs. Burjeski, put together early on. I think actually might have been part of the interview process, but that has struck a chord of that we really truly believe the elementary schools are the foundation for our students. We prepare them with a good, strong foundation to be successful as they go through our school systems. And not only is this a nice looking graphic, but I believe that Mrs. Burjeski, Mrs. Arango Correa, and all the teacher leaders, they really believe this. And I think that we've taken everything we do to another level that is really just impacting students in the classroom tremendously. So tonight, the objectives are to provide a brief update on the 2021 curricula and instructional support initiatives. I wanted to share just a few examples of how these initiatives are impacting our students in the classroom, because that's the ultimate goal. It's not for teachers to feel supported, it's for teachers to be supported by coaches in order to accomplish more in the classroom with our students. And 3 of our teacher leaders, Mrs. Burjeski is here this evening, Mrs. Valentina Arango, our ELA coach, is here this evening, and Kristen Hickman, our K-8 science coordinator, prepared a video to update you on what she's doing in the world of science. As you can tell, there are a couple of comments here, but these are comments that I've collected from administrators, from teachers, from colleagues throughout the district over the last couple of weeks, just to kind of get their perspective on the coaches. And a couple of themes about having in-house experts and having someone who understands what day-to-day life is in the classrooms of Roselle Park has been instrumental in moving things forward quicker. The rigor and volume of text that we set out to increase in our language arts curriculum, that leaves a lot of interpretation about how to do that well, especially this year, because we wrote curriculum to be rigorous, to be challenging, to be graded, appropriate, aligned to the standards. But we also wrote our curriculum for this September to be our regular curriculum, not curriculum expected to be diminished because of the pandemic. We wrote our curriculum as we wanted to stand moving into the future, which has left a lot of interpretation. So how to get those diverse texts at higher reading levels, how to have students be successful at that required a lot of adjustment this year, which we've done successfully. We've also seen that teachers are feeling that we're not just connecting classes at the high school and beyond, but we're making meaningful connections, that there's someone to connect those dots between how this novel can also play on themes in a different, totally unrelated course, and we can connect that. So when students go from a technology-based class to an ELA class to a social studies class, there's common themes and common language and common instructional points that the teachers have discussed, and it's really the language arts coaches who are making those connections. I think I lost our camera here, sorry. Another big area of need has been to iron out those transition years. Our students go from 5th to 6th grade, our students go from 8th to 9th grade, and that really comes down to communication between levels, between teachers, with our coaches, and our teacher leaders have really emphasized that communication and really speaking elementary language to middle school and speaking middle school language to elementary so that they understand each other a little bit more than they did before we had these roles. In the area of science, claims, evidence, and reasoning is something coming straight from the standards. It's the way scientists think and talk about their work. Our students from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade in science classes are behaving and acting and using the language of scientists. It's not just something that's written in standards. It's something our students are living day in and day out in the classroom. And lastly, implementing and supporting change successfully. We've had more change this year. We've taken on more challenges than we ever have from a curricular standpoint, from an assessment standpoint, from getting everyone on the same page as best we possibly can. And we've gotten so much accomplished despite the challenges of a pandemic. And I attribute a lot of that to the teacher leaders that we have and the coaches that are going to tell you a little bit more about our initiative in ELA, math, and science this evening. So with that, I will turn the presentation over, algebra, or early exposure and advanced opportunities, to Mrs. Brzeski, our math coach.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Hi, Mr. Garrido. Hi, Ms. Callis and the board. Early exposure and advanced opportunities was something that I was presented with. Sorry, I'm short. Sorry. And I jumped in both feet and I'll show you what we've been doing. We have an acceleration summary, enrichment opportunities going on, curriculum updates and an assessment schedule, and then data analysis and standard-based intervention, and to be summer remediation soon. First few days and months, really, I wanted to get together with my colleagues and collaborate on how we accomplish this advancement. It took 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, even high school teachers to get together through Zooms and really work with each other, work with me to figure out what our priorities are and how do we make this happen as soon as possible, and be equitable for everybody involved. So our plan for that time frame was to prioritize what would be on a state test and then move towards our algebra for all in 8th grade. How we did that is I created a bunch of spreadsheets, one being on how to prioritize envision and the big ideas topics. Those are our 2 texts at the elementary, middle, and high school level. Take a look at them, expand them, condense them, reorganize them so that we are reinforcing those academics we need so that these 7th graders are prepared to take algebra. And we even have some 6th graders who are prepared to take algebra. In our enrichment opportunities, our top performers in both 8th grade and 6th grade are going to have the opportunity to advance themselves a course level. What that looked like in the school year, we took our little babies who basically never even got out of 5th grade and got them ready to take for the first time ever in Roselle Park, 7th grade algebra. So we have those awesome group of students doing that independently with the help of a great teacher, Mrs. Maurer. Recently, I took a look at data and got the 8th graders, our top performers again. I wound up getting all the kids who were eligible to sign up to go ahead and do this. They're going to take algebra on their own over the summer, placing them into geometry in high school. And then we have our 5th graders just completed their pre-assessment that places them in pre-algebra for 6th grade, meaning they will take the course if successful, 7th grade algebra, 8th grade geometry, and then beyond. Those results I just reviewed with the 5th grade teachers, they show us what we need to do right away at the beginning of the year. Super valuable information. When I looked over the curriculum, the first thing that I started with was our standards progression. How does algebra look in kindergarten and how does it progress through 7th grade, making sure that we are equitable in what everybody is receiving, making sure that our honors courses are in fact honors and rigorous, and the course title, the content. Sorry. With this comes a common assessment and data analysis. I needed to be careful to make sure that all of our topics through our Envision text and our Big Ideas text that aligned with algebra were being assessed, analyzed, and reviewed. The new curriculum at the middle school has additions of a new 6th grade math pre-algebra course, an enhanced 6th grade regular course, an enhanced 7th grade pre-algebra course, and an additional algebra class for 7th grade. And then next school year, 22-23, we'll have a geometry opportunity for our 8th graders. At the elementary level, we had to add an additional unit to third grade. Fourth grade, earlier algebra exposure, and then fifth grade, we reorganized our topics to align to standards and grouping the information that the students were manipulating so that there was a progression and better ways to intervene throughout the year. A support program we put into place is Happy Numbers for K-1. And then onto my data analysis, I sprinkled it a little bit between the start and the finish here. I'm looking at those numbers. I'm utilizing our common assessments. I'm utilizing Linkit to really make sure that we're making conscious decisions. We had the standard-based instruction in the middle of the year, and then we'll also be looking at that data right now to plan for our summer remediation. And now we have that.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. I'm Valentina Orengo Correa. So today I'll be talking a little bit about the ELA K through 3 curriculum work that is currently being done, the ELA 4 to 12 novel-based curriculum, the assessment and data collection, and lastly, the RPSD K to 12 text demographics report. So the current ELA K through 3 curriculum is being written by a few of the teachers in those grades. As you can see, they're working really closely together to make sure that there is a good flow between kindergarten through third grade, and this ties really well into the 4th through 12th. So for the kindergarten, there is a large phonics component and beginning readers. There's also an intro to literacy structures. In grade 1, there's phonics as well, but it is the grade that has the biggest emphasis on reading. It is the grade where students are expected to build or go up more steps in the reading scale, and then they build on literacy structures. In grade 2, we are continuing phonics, building guided reading, continuing guided reading groups, strategy groups, and independent reading. And grade 3 is our transition into the ELA-based, novel-based curriculum. So this is the general structure of the grades 4 to 12 ELA novel-based curriculum. In grades 4 to 12, there is a novel-based curriculum that is supported with multimodal paired texts. The paired texts include, but are not limited to, nonfiction, poetry, essay, and other multimodal texts. The core novels are situated within thematic units of study. This year for assessment and data collection, we administered for both math and ELA, Linkit Form A, B, and C. This is a NJSLS standard-based assessment. The teachers at the high school are currently working on an end of the year assessment. It is teacher created. It is a teacher created assessment that is one assessment across the course, and it is NJSLS standards based. And this is happening in ELA, math, and science. So for the RPSD K through 12 text demographics report, we are looking at books as mirrors, windows, and sliding glass doors. When students look at books as mirrors, they can see themselves and their own experiences reflected in the book. When they see it as windows, they can learn through the book about other people's people, places, things, and experiences. And through sliding glass door perspective, students can enter into the book world through their imagination. So the demographics, the RPSD K-12 demographics report was actually an inspiration with Ms. Callis, with Ms. Callis's help. And this is a graphic that really helped us to put together the report. This is an illustration that highlights the diversity in children's books that were published in 2018. So this is books that were published in the US, not indicative of Roselle Park, but just in general in the US. And as you can see, the representation in terms of racial demographics differs greatly in different categories, racial categories. So when we put together This, as you can see, this is just grades 9 to 12, but we did this work all through from 3rd grade on to 12th. And as you can see, a lot of the novels were broken down, or we did this work in terms of what is the demographic report for the protagonist and minor characters in the book, but also we took the demographic information of the writers and the authors of the book. This is that data information from 3 to 12, and this is combined into a pie chart to see what our current text demographics are for protagonists and minor and secondary characters in the books. And as you can see, well, a lot of progress has been made, especially at the higher middle school and high school levels. There's been a conscious push to make sure that the demographics in the books are more representative of our student body. And this also serves for the teachers to make conscious decisions when they choose the multimodal pair texts, and the curriculum writers when they are writing those pair texts into the curriculum. And then, thank you.
All right, thank you both for your sharing. Before I move on to science to share Ms. Hickman's words, I just wanted to acknowledge that the amount of work that Mrs. Brzeski and Mrs. Arango Correa have done, it's almost unfair to ask them to summarize that in 5 minutes, because there is an enormous amount of projects. And I'll tell you that with Mrs. Brzeski's ability to manage spreadsheets far beyond mine, she's involved with a lot of projects, and Mrs. Rango dealing with language arts with everybody is incredibly passionate about every aspect of their program, from the book, from how they read it, when they read it, and what they say about it. There's a lot of passion when it comes to ELA teaching. And between Mrs. Brzeski wrangling all the math teachers to make incredible changes quickly, as we've done this year, and Ms. Arango doing the same thing with ELA, they've moved mountains in short periods of time, with not only getting massive amount of things done, but having the teachers behind them cheering them on and saying, what a great job we're doing. This is exciting. I can't wait to next year when things normalize, because we've got our curriculum in order. To hear that across the two big major content areas, from teachers from kindergarten all the way through the high school, is truly amazing. So thank you both for all your work. All right, moving on to science. Ms. Hickman is not able to be with us tonight, but she did prepare a video for us.
I'm excited to announce that next year, the K through 8 science is changing with the program for K through 5 will be senior science. 6 through 8, we're going to be providing a step up level. So both these programs are based off the framework for K through 12 science, the NTSF. It allows for in-frame hands-on learning with teachers as facilitators, and the students are engaged in learning. So the basis of these two programs is this, the three-dimensional learning, which is in science and engineering practices, cross-cutting concepts and ideas, where students are going to follow the 5E model, which is learn and evaluate. So kindergarten through 5th grade, they're going to be using knowing science. Each grade will follow the same path. Science is going to and then bring and so that each year they're learning a little bit more. Students are going to be participating. They're going to engage with hands-on in-frame ideas and movement of instruction. The program does come with differentiated assignments and their assessments to align. And then also the separate body is going to integrate benefit each training level. And the way this program is designed is phenomenon-based life events. So the concept goes with these real-life stories that all along throughout the unit, so that students can understand there is a real basis for this in science, scientists and engineers throughout the process. So the programs for success grade, as you can see, there is some physical science, life science, and earth science to give a better picture year and go a little bit more into depth while doing cross-curricular activities and also just cross-science. The CER approach that we're utilizing for K through 12 is to allow the students to find science. The way collecting scientific and engineering here, we're going to look at how they're going to attempt to solve. They're going to use their skills and their knowledge in order to come up with these ideas. Based on the XPSS, they to create, evaluate, and analyze simultaneously. So students are doing this based on looking at data, coming up with conclusions, being able to provide evidence that is drawn or analyzed from that data, and then being able to justify a statement based upon. So this is for students to really engage in their learning and find data.
And to add on, just to acknowledge some other science work, also coordinating science at the high schools, our very own teacher of the year for Union County, Dennis DeGunis, has been instrumental in we're not getting new programs at the high school, but we certainly are making changes to make sure that students are exposed to content prior to the 11th grade science test, and making sure that if they learn something in 9th grade, that's not the last time they see it before taking an assessment on it in 11th grade. So there's been a lot of work to make sure that concepts were embedded in courses that may not typically fit, just to make sure that they had a little bit of a connection and a review before that 11th grade test. One last little anecdote with the science. Mrs. Hickman was tasked with rolling out the new science to elementary school. And as you heard earlier, Mrs. Brzezinski is making adjustments in math. Mrs. Rango is making improvements to the curriculum in language arts. So for our K through 3 teachers who teach all subjects, they're being hit by 3 different areas with significant changes. And Ms. Hickman was the one that had the last. In her initial rollout of the new program, new STEM kits, new robust materials they're going to have for science, she started to realize that the teachers had some angst about all these new things coming in September. And after a conversation on Monday morning, she emailed me and said, I think I solved the problem. All the teachers wanted X, Y, or Z, and basically rewrote the entire curriculum K-5 to structure it so that the less hands-on of the 3 units starts in the beginning of the year. So I have time to get back into the classroom, get back into the normal swing of things next year. And she made that change based on her interactions with K-3 teachers, which went over very well in terms of a simple change that just required a lot of work on one person's plate to do it, and got it done. And all of our teachers are, that's contributing to the reasons why they're excited about these changes, as opposed to, the way it could go and does go in a lot of school districts outside of Rose Hill Park. Moving on, just a couple other areas I'll just brush up on very quickly, but these are other big projects that were going on right now. In the area of computer science, we've introduced Project Lead the Way courses at the middle school and high school level. And right now we're in the process of exploring if it's possible to bring Project Lead the Way down to elementary to give students a unit of exposure of Project Lead the Way in both 4th and 5th grade for next year. We're in the midst of seeing if that's realistic for September. Our library program, headed up by Mrs. Lemke, our media specialist here at the high school, has done a great job of outlining K through 12 curriculum for language art, for library program, but she's also been connecting with all the other teacher leaders to make sure that there's not redundancy. We have such a limited amount of time for our library program that we want to make sure that if she's hitting on something that's already taught at a grade level or introducing a concept to students, if they've already seen it or heard it, she wants to make sure that they see it and hear it in a way that resonates with them so that it impacts their learning. Health and PE, there's a lot of emphasis as we're updating the curriculum on lifelong health and physical fitness activities so that students can learn something that is not team sport driven in school and take it with them for their lifelong passion in that area, but trying to expose students to lots of different activities, not just team sports. Our art and music and dance curriculum, which I apologize is not on there, is also being updated across the board to align to the new standards. One of the biggest parts of that project is an instrumental music curriculum to span elementary through the high school. And the entire music department is rallying around the idea of we're going to make sure that this curriculum beefs up what students who leave the elementary school can do in middle school. We're going to wow you with what we can do in middle school, and our program at the high school is going to build on that success at the younger level, so we can keep improving at the high school level. And lastly, the last update of something that's very exciting. Next year, we're going to introduce a requirement from the state, but I think that the way we're doing it is why I'm excited. Financial literacy will now be a cycle course next year at the middle school. From the amount of different investment from banks, commercial banks, and financial institutions, there's so much financial literacy curriculum out there. The teachers that's taken the lead on authoring those courses, I think, has identified some of the most fun, engaging, and interesting ways to learn about the basics of handling your own money, which I think is a great thing that all of our middle school students will be exposed to each year in our curriculum starting in September. So with that, I know we went very fast through a whole lot of updates, but again, it's nice for me to be up here and to celebrate all those accomplishments, but none of it happens without the teachers that are taking on quite a bit of extra work, without our teacher leaders, like two of our coaches here tonight. But lastly, the support of the Board of Ed, the superintendent, BA, everybody here tonight. We really thank you for your support to have these roles and to have all these updates that we're doing, because we know it takes, at the bottom line, it takes investment, and it takes investment from our board. So we thank you very much for all that support to have these projects going. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you for that presentation. We appreciate it. At this time, we'd like to go on to policy agenda items 1 and 2. Number 1, district policy, second reading. Number 2, district policies adoption. Motion
Move it.
to approve, please.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Second. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Fernandez,
Yes.
Mr. Harms,
Yes.
Mix Infante,
Yes.
Ms. Kirkland,
Yes.
Ms. McLeod Cato,
Yes.
Ms. Quintella,
Abstention from 1A and yes.
and President Crosstrom.
Yes. On to personnel, agenda items 3 through 9 and addenda item 1. Number 3, staff appointments. Number 4, staff resignations. Number 5, medical leave of absence extension request. Number 6, Title I AP tutorial program revision. Number 7, professional development. Number 8, summer camp revision, additional staffing list. Number 9, summer technology help. Addenda under personnel. Number 1, staff appointments. May I have an approval, a motion to approve the personnel section?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Fernandez, Mr. Harms,
Yes.
Ms. Mix Infante,
Yes.
Ms. Kirkland,
Yes.
Ms. McLeod Cato,
Yes.
Ms. Quintella,
Yes.
and President Crosstrom.
Yes, but I abstain for number 8. Business. Agenda items 10 through 16 and addenda item 2. 10, approval of bills. 11, approval of minutes. 12, budget transfers. 13, bus evacuation drills. 14, private sale. 15, middle college program. 16, summer camp handbook. Addenda included is number 2, 2021-2022 joint transportation agreement. May I have a motion to approve the business section?
So moved.
May I have a second? Roll call, please.
Mr. Fernandez,
Yes.
Mr. Harms,
Yes.
Ms. Infante,
Yes.
Ms. Kirkland,
Yes.
Ms. McLeod Cato, Ms. Quintella,
Yes.
and President Carlstrom.
Yes. Continuing business. And at this time, also new business. Just want to remind my fellow board members that we're invited to march at the Memorial Day Parade this Monday coming up. If you are interested, please let us know so that we can contact Rupert at the Casano Center. And we're going to line up at Sherman School, and the parade will kick off and proceed down Grand Avenue right on Chestnut to Veterans Memorial Library. Anyone else have any new business?
Madam President,
Yes.
I just want to thank Mr. Salvo and the coaches today. I mean, that presentation was excellent. As a parent and a board member, I just want to thank you for all the work that you're doing. It hasn't been an easy year, but you know, the obstacles didn't stop you or your team, and that's just a testament to what you guys have been doing. We appreciate it greatly.
With young children, I figured they've worked hard enough that I wanted to get them out of us. So I'll have to pass. that
Hey,
to
it's on the
them, so
record, so they can always watch it later.
Thank thank you very much.
Okay, any other new business? Seeing none, we'll go to the public participation. Each member of the public may speak a maximum of 3 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record. Seeing no in-person public coming to the microphone, Mrs. Callis, did we receive any written public comments?
Yes, we received 2. The first one was from Artur Karwowski. He wrote, "Here are my questions for the meeting tonight. Please have the minutes posted on the forum for all members to see. There should be no reason to post them as it's part of the Freedom of Information Act, and some members cannot come in person. 1, statistics of students in participation. How many students actually utilize the special needs program in accordance to private tuition? What is the average tuition cost per service rendered per student in the program? What does the private tuition program provide that the OTPT program does not provide? 2, E-rate. What does the E-rate budget entail? How is the E-rate budget calculated and how is it distributed? What services does the E-rate program provide to our school system? Is the E-rate budget reanalyzed every year to obtain the best possible going rate of services? Number 3, staff travel. What is the staff travel budget provide to students? How is it calculated and dispersed? Does the staff travel budget have limitations and what are they? Who is exempt from utilizing the staff travel budget? Number 4, technology salaries. What staff members are compensated at these budgeted salaries? What services do the members who obtain these salaries provide to the school system? Are these positions open, competitive, or are they contractual? Please obtain answers to these questions as we, the taxpayers, pay this budget into existence and demand to know where the shortcomings of the budget can be brought to light and later retraced to be used for actual better services. Again, there should be no issue with posting onto the forum or through my email the minutes of these questions and responses from many concerned parents and taxpayers of Roselle Park.
Thank you for your comments and questions. The public participation portion provides an opportunity for the public to provide comments on the board. This portion is not a question and answer discourse. Specific questions like these should be sent to the superintendent's office. Mr. Guido, would you like to respond?
Yes, Mrs. Colstrom, first of all, Mr. Kowalski, thank you so much for your questions. We appreciate it. Back in March, we had, and I wish you could have joined us, and This is just a recommendation for next year. Back in March, we have our public budget workshop where we seek input from the public, and that is something that we welcome the public to come in and certainly give their input. Also back in April, at the end of April, I believe it was April 25th or 26th, we had our budget presentation. Mrs. Callas presented the budget, but we also had an opportunity, gave an opportunity for the audience to ask questions, and all the questions were answered that evening. As Mrs. Kostrom stated, this is really not the forum for questions and answers. This is a public comment segment. So please, you're more than welcome to reach out to me tomorrow or anytime on the phone. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. In terms of the first section of the email, saying please have the minutes posted on the forum for all members to see. The minutes are always posted on the district website upon board approval. Immediately following board approval, they are posted. That is a public website that anyone can certainly view those minutes, and they're fully posted there. Mrs. Callas, I do not know if you have any answers for those budgetary questions at this time. If not, we can always urge Mr. Kowarski to call my office.
I could try to attempt to answer some of these questions. So I'll start with the first part about students and participation. The actual numbers I don't have in front of me, and it would be dependent annually based on student IEPs. I mean, do we want to? I mean, I can just, okay.
If this is not a question and
Okay.
answer, it's for comments from the public. We shouldn't be sitting here tonight making a statement prior to this, and now we're answering questions.
Okay.
The superintendent said that the gentleman can send a message to him, anything he'd like to have, give him a call, and the superintendent would be more than happy to answer his questions. Again, we shouldn't be sitting here answering questions if it's not an answering questions period.
Certainly. Mr. Kowalski, I'm more than happy to answer any questions. If you can just call my office, or you can email me directly if that's more convenient. Thank you.
Mrs. Callis, are there any other correspondences?
Yes, we received a second one from Cindy Mago, living or resident from 433 Walnut Street. Good evening. My question is in regards to mask requirements for next school year. I will have 2 students in the district schools in the fall, and I would like to know the board's stance on required masks next year. Our students are able to play sports, enjoy the town parks and playgrounds together, and socialize with friends, all mask free. As of Friday, they will also be able to shop, go to the movies, and eat in restaurants mask free. However, the moment they enter a school, they must have a face covering. Children have been affected the least by this virus, yet they suffered the most, both mentally, physically, and educationally from this pandemic. I believe everyone should have a choice to send their child into school with a mask if they choose, but we should also be allowed to send them without one. While our governor has said the masks may continue next year, other school districts are stepping up and speaking out against continued mask requirements. With that said, what will this school board do to give parents back their right to decide what is best for their children?
No, it's not. Ms. Gosselin, if I may answer here. The governor has announced, and it's continues to be one of his orders, that mask must be worn in schools as well as medical centers and so forth. So the board really cannot go against the governor's orders. So as of now, that is something that we will continue to have the masks worn in the school buildings. If it changes, obviously, information will be sent out. Any guidance that comes from the Department of Education or the Department of Health or the governor's office will certainly be sent out to all the parents as well.
Thank you, Mr. Garrido. If there is no more correspondences and no more new business from the dais, I'd like to have a motion for adjournment.
I'll make the motion.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next scheduled board meeting will be held on Tuesday, June 8th, 2021 at 7 PM. The board meeting will be held right here at the Roselle Park High School Auditorium. Have a good long weekend. Stay safe, stay cool. See you in June.